Welcome, I'm William,
And I'm Kat,
and that makes this Info on the Go.
and we're answering questions you want to know.
And this is a special Thanksgiving Day episode. So, this is not going to be one of our full length episodes, just a little Thanksgiving and how a feast became a nation's holiday, if you didn't already read the title. So, every November, millions of Americans sit down for turkey, stuffing, or dressing, whichever one you want to call it, as we've already talked about, and all kind of pies, right?
Right.
But have you ever really stopped to wonder, how this really became a national holiday or a national tradition?
All the time. All the time. It's more than food and it's a story of survival. There's unity, politics, and persistence.
Yeah, but it's not the story that you know. So, Thanksgiving has really evolved over 300 years from a colonial harvest feast to a federal holiday.
Right. The Pilgrims and Wampanoag, Sarah Joseph Hale's campaign, Lincoln's wartime decision, and even Roosevelt's controversy.
Yeah, but let's kind of travel back in time just a little bit to 1621, where it all began.
So we're going back to the Plymouth colony in 1621, and it was the first year marked by disease, hunger, and harsh winter. Nearly half the pilgrims died.
Half. Dang.
And there
So
wasn't a whole lot to start with.
yeah, they traveled across to a foreign land, and we're gonna do one on that Plymouth colony because uh, as you'll see, they didn't really have enough time to start their harvest to make it through the winter, and they really weren't expecting that harsh of a winter. But Sequanto and the Winnipesaukee, led by Chief Mazzacate.
Mesozoic.
Okay, we'll go with Mesozoic. He taught the pilgrims, how to survive by planting corn, fishing, gathering local foods, living off the land in a new environment.
Right. And then there was the 3-day celebration of the successful harvest, and the attendance was 50 pilgrims and 90 Wampanoag.
Wow. So that was a pretty big deal then. I mean,
Yeah,
trying to feed 140 people.
right, exactly. And of course, you had venison, which is deer, fowl, wild turkey, duck, goose, and corn, beans, squash, the three sisters. And there was some shellfish and fish too.
Yeah, so, that first Thanksgiving included fish and shellfish.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know why they call it the Three Sisters, though?
Mm-mm.
So you plant corn and then you plant the beans in between the corn, and the beans give the corn nitrogen, and you plant the squash on the other side of that, and the corn gives the squash shade. So they all work together.
Oh, makes
Um,
sense.
yeah, but there was activities like games, contests, rituals of diplomacy, and it really kind of helped build alliances with the Wampanoag.
Right. And that marked mutual respect and temporary peace, not purely a holiday.
No, but I mean, you think it's a massive gathering. I mean, yeah. But let's clarify some misconceptions, all right? So the event was not called Thanksgiving by the Pilgrims.
And not the first Thanksgiving Day. Earlier religious harvest observances existed in Europe and in other colonies.
So later myths romanticized this event by glossing over the hardships and the tensions between the Wampanoag and the Pilgrims. But it was a celebration and a fragile truce.
Yeah. And while that 1621 feast became legendary, the real journey from meal to holiday was still centuries away.
Yeah, so the let's get into the colonial and early American Thanksgivings. So religious and local days. From the 1600s to the 1700s, colonial communities regularly observed days of Thanksgiving. These were often declared by local or colonial authorities to mark, like successful harvest, successful military campaigns, or just surviving through harsh winters and epidemics.
These days were primarily religious observances focused on prayer, fasting, and gratitude to God rather than communal feasts.
Yeah, so the regional traditions that you found in New England were most common, reflecting Puritan influence.
And each colony or town set its own date, so celebrations varied widely in timing and style.
Yeah, but over time, these observances kind of gradually incorporated feasting and social gatherings, and it kind of started to blend that solemn reflection with communal celebration.
Yeah. And then you had the Revolutionary period. During the American Revolution, the Continental Congress proclaimed national days of Thanksgiving to boost morale among citizens and troops and reinforce a sense of shared purpose and national unity.
So these proclamations, they help really kind of create that bond, that connection between gratitude and civic identity. Really laying the groundwork for later national Thanksgiving traditions that we would come to know and love.
Right. And when the war was won and a new nation born, its first president decided to make the gratitude official.
So Washington's Thanksgiving and Hale's Crusade, you know, uh, so in November 26, 1789, you know, George Washington declared a national day of thanksgiving and prayer.
And that was to thank the divine providence for the successful independence and the new constitution.
But it was a one-time national event, not intended as an annual holiday.
Right. But in the years that followed, presidents and states occasionally declared their own Thanksgiving days, but there was no consistent national observance. And as a result, celebrations varied widely across the country, both in date and in style.
So enter in Sarah Josepha Hale, who was the editor of Godey's Lady's Book, one of the most influential publications of the 19th century. And as editor, she advocated for 30 years to establish a Thanksgiving holiday.
She wrote letters to presidents, governors, and fellow editors, and it promoted a vision of Thanksgiving as moral, family centered, and unifying, capable of bridging North and South.
Yeah, her campaign methods. She would publish recipes, essays, articles celebrating the holiday's values, built widespread public support through these consistent campaigns that she held.
Her persistence finally reached the right president during the critical moment in U.S. history.
In 1863, as Civil War tore the country apart, Abraham Lincoln saw Thanksgiving as more than a meal. He saw it as a way to heal the soul of a nation.
So, Civil War, America was deeply divided between North and South, and Sarah Josepha Hale's influence, her letters to Lincoln promoted Thanksgiving as a national unifying holiday. On October 3rd, 1863, he declared Thanksgiving an annual national holiday and set the date, the last Thursday in November. The message emphasized gratitude during hardship, reflection, and healing for a fractured nation, and invoked shared blessings, deliberately avoiding political division.
And the public reaction, well, it was adopted immediately on from the northern states. And the southern states, well, they followed after the Civil War. So, this became a symbol of peace, family, renewal, reinforcing those communal values. And from Lincoln's proclamation outward, Thanksgiving was here to stay. But and there's always a but. Later debates about the date would they would kind of arise.
Right, FDR and the date change. So, the Great Depression era of the 1930s, Thanksgiving held both sacral and commercial significance. It marked the beginning of Christmas shopping season, making the timing economically important. And in 1939, FDR's decision moved Thanksgiving 1 week earlier to lengthen the shopping period. So, public backlash, many called it Franksgiving, and confusion really ensued. Some states refused to change, creating two Thanksgivings in some years.
And then the resolution came in 1941 when Congress passed a law officially setting Thanksgiving as the fourth Thursday of November, standardizing the holiday nationwide. And since then, Thanksgiving has been one of America's most celebrated and most complicated holidays, and I would agree with that. Man, you get a lot of family together. There's always a game on. Somebody's rooting for this team, that team, and
It can be messy.
yeah, it can. Um, but at the same time, it does bring a lot of different people together because you're getting to sit down and sometimes enjoy family members you don't get to see, but that one time a year as well.
Right. And the spirit of Thanksgiving here, even now, was family gratitude, unity, and reflection. It's a time for togetherness and tradition, including turkey and seasonal meals, parades, local and national. You got football games, volunteering, and community service.
Yeah, a lot of families get together and volunteer for homeless shelters,
Right.
which is huge, I mean, a lot of communities do that either around that lunchtime. So, uh anyway, Native American perspective for some, Thanksgiving is a reminder of loss or displacement and colonization. But recent efforts and growing awareness to honor both gratitude and historical truth, acknowledging the fuller story of the holiday's origins. It's a start looking back at history and kind of reflecting on it.
Right. And of course, you have our modern traditions today where Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, held annually since 1924, and the presidential turkey pardons, a symbolic, lighthearted tradition. Charitable meals were community diners and food drives, and Friendsgivings. Modern adaptation emphasizing friendship and inclusivity.
So Thanksgiving continues to evolve alongside the nation, reflecting social change, cultural awareness, and modern customs. And at its heart, it remains a holiday about gratitude for harvest, home, and hope, and bringing families together.
Yeah. So, this holiday season, let's reflect on how Thanksgiving endures because gratitude itself is timeless.
With that being said, I just want to say I hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving today.
Yeah, from a harvest meal shared in 1621 to a National Day of Unity, Thanksgiving tells a story of resilience, reflection, and the power of coming together.
Happy Thanksgiving
Happy Thanksgiving!
from the both of us here at Info on the Go and our special Thanksgiving Day episode.
Have a great holiday, everyone.